Keys to the City podcast.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back another edition of Keys to the City. I'm your host, Trevor Keys, alongside the big brother T3 Ted Keys, here for you. You know, we always like to say as sports fans, it's kind of a dead time, but when you really think about this weekend and during it right now, it's not really a dead time. Like, that's the thing. We got to think about it. You still got baseball going on. You have a mega stacked card tonight in the UFC for all those MMA fans. Huge, two massive title fights. One of the better cards in recent memory, as they always like to for the 4th of July weekend. Plus, it is 4th of July. I know it's slow because you got no NFL, but the NBA. In the past couple of weeks, we've been talking about two guys specifically, one for different reasons and one for the other. One of those names is Steph Curry. Why do I bring up Steph Curry? Well, because there was a guy that we've always compared to during this era, and no, it's not LeBron James. It was the next guy, the next closest guy that we always like to talk about and to discuss of who is the best player of our era, and that's Kevin Durant. Now, Kevin Durant historically will go down as one of the greatest, if not the greatest scorer in this game, possibly. Will go down as one of the greatest forwards in this game. He also has a title that, to me, is a bigger deal. Like all his accolades, congratulations, Ted. You got? Are you peace signing to me? Or are you saying?
He's got two titles.
I know. I didn't know what you meant, but you were just peace signing to me.
I didn't want it.
That's fine. My thing was also, yes, he's got the two titles. He's got the two Finals MVPs. One an MVP, one a scoring title. He's done it all. Here's another thing that we also have to put in the name Kevin Durant, the history books, because he is the catalyst, the orchestrator, the man of two of possibly the greatest what ifs in NBA history. Now, we can all say, oh, well, what happens if Shaq and Kobe never broke up? What about if LeBron and Dwayne Wade never left Miami? Here's the difference. Those guys won titles. KD has two of the greatest what ifs in maybe NBA history, and the two teams that I'm talking about is the OKC Thunder and now the Brooklyn Nets.
Well, honestly, Trev, you could say his whole career is a what if. I mean, think about it. You got to add Golden State to that thing because he left.
Well, the only reason why I don't put Golden State, Ted, is just because he won the titles. That
has to be a what if, because if he stays, right, they probably win two more titles. They win another title. I mean, who knows? But what's to say they couldn't have won multiple titles? We know what the Thunder was. I mean, you got to give Presley, the GM for the Thunder, incredible. I mean, to be able to pick Kevin Durant, James Harden, Russell Westbrook. I was going to say Brian Westbrook, but you choose Russell Westbrook. And those three guys, okay, yeah, they got to one title. They were still young. They weren't ready for the LeBron James show. But what could have been of those three magnificent players? Then he goes to Golden State after having a 3-1 lead. He wins two titles for Golden State. But then he leaves them. He leaves a perfect,
because he wants to try to start his own
organization that has discipline and everything that you want, right? Then he gets his way. Now, Trev, I just sent you something on Messenger. I don't know if you saw this report, if you check your phone, but it was something that I was reading about Kevin Durant. It was from Bleacher Report on Basketball Forever.
Happy for it, Tommy D. Happy for it. Stay safe.
Happy for it, Tommy D. So here, I'll just give you a little spew of it, and then I'll let you take over and tell me what you think about this. So it says the Brooklyn Nets paid Kevin Durant to sit on the sidelines and rehab for an entire season on the understanding that he was in it for the long goal. Remember, he was coming off that big injury.
He just got his big contract last year.
Instead, Durant demanded a trade after playing just 90 games for the Nets. Durant was also one who urged Brooklyn to sign Kyrie, the man who pushed James Harden away and set the wheels in motion for this whole thing to fall apart. KD was also a major role in pushing Brooklyn to sign a completely washed DeAndre Jordan for a ridiculous $40 million contract, which we knew that was a waste when they signed him. The Nets did everything Kevin Durant asked, and he repaid them by setting them up for failure and quitting on them.
And Ted, you said it too. Like, I mean, we could say what ifs. We could say about OKC. Like, OKC was young and at the time immature with just because Harden wanted to do his own thing. That's a what if in the sense of they just broke up too soon. This was a
Trevor never got started. The wheels never got out of the car never got out of the ground.
It was a complete disaster from the start with the whole Kyrie and James Harden. And you get right there off the bat, you should know, like right before, even before Brooklyn had Kevin Durant step foot in Brooklyn to play basketball, you got to just look at the two players that he tried to collect this super team. Kyrie Irving. I mean, I was a Kyrie Irving fan. He's become one of the most toxic athletes, not just in basketball, but in all the sports. And then James Harden has become his own little worst enemy as well. And you just look at from what you said, Ted, going to Golden State, the culture, the identity. And that's what I think people forget about in the NBA. Yes, you can have talent. Talent wins games. But does talent win championships ultimately? Yes, you can have that. That's a big part. Yes, it's a huge part to have the talent. But there's a million other checks that you have to check off of that checkbox.
Well,
it's the sense of you got to have the identity. You got to have the culture. That was so great about Golden State. And hell, that was why OKC was getting to that point of where we thought, hell, this team can maybe take over the league because of that culture. They did it right. They drafted right. They added some pieces, some veteran presence to that team because they were so young, but they had the talent. This team, this was just a team just put all together, said, hey, guess what? Here's all the talent in the world. Let's just put it together. I don't give a crap what helps, what other, the personalities, take that all aside. We're going to win because we have the most talented team. And no, that doesn't happen. And everybody wants to say, well, LeBron this and LeBron that, and how LeBron likes to go to other franchises. Well, guess what? Yeah, that's fine. But LeBron has won. He won in Miami. He came back and won in Cleveland. And then he won in LA. KD, yeah, he won in Golden State. Well, let's be honest. I know he was a huge part of that, but that team was already at the top of this league. They were coming off of the greatest record-wise in a season, Ted. So that's what I got to say about it.
Well, here's what I got to really say, and I'm surprised you haven't hit on this because usually you're the one that gets deep and think about it. But here's what I would say to this. The guys you mentioned, James Harden, Kyrie Irving, they are exceptional talents. They are exceptional basketball talents.
Yeah, but their egos get the best of them.
They're egomaniacs, but they're not bad guys. They're not they're not domestic violence. They're not. Listen, I'm not saying Deshaun Watson's a bad man, but he has done some bad things. He is not these type of guys, right? What I would say to this is, here's the problem with Kevin Durant and the teams he has tried to put together. He's a follower, not a leader. The reason why it worked in Golden State is because the number one superstar knew how to take a step back and let him be the show. Listen to me when I say this. Steph Curry, he's the bus driver. He's driving the bus. But Kevin Durant was the best player on that team. We know that. He was the best player.
Yeah.
Similar situation in Miami. Dwayne Wade was the bus driver, right? He's got the tour bus. He's John Madden.
But we all know LeBron was the best.
But LeBron was the best player, came in. For those superstar guys to take a step back and let that type of guy, so you have to have one team like that where you have the team leader and the superstar to take a step back for a guy to be able to do that. And not a lot of guys do that in the NBA, all right? Yeah. That's why Dwayne Wade and Steph Curry are special guys. Now, here's another situation. There's a guy over your right shoulder. And then there's another guy who wore number 23 for Chicago. You either have to have a superstar, like I said in Miami when Dwayne Wade and Steph Curry who could take a step back, or you need the total alpha. A guy like Kobe Bryant, a guy like Michael Jordan who takes no crap from no one. Like the movie Bronx Tale. Or not the Bronx Tale, I'm thinking Jamaican Bobsleigh. Remember? What do you see in the mirror? I see pride. I see power.
Cool,
I see a badass.
Can I say something?
Guys,
can I say
Kevin
something?
Durant, hold on 1 second. Kevin
Durant
would never be able to run the show and pull the things he do if a guy that's behind your shoulder or number 23 in Chicago was on that team. That's the difference. There is no Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan or supreme leader on those teams. The problem is Kevin Durant has all the exceptional talent in the world, but he's an egomaniac. And the people that
I don't think KD's an ego. I don't think KD's an ego.
Who you surround yourself with, friends.
That's the thing.
The guys that he has surrounded himself with are bad choices.
Yeah, and I'm going to interrupt you on that in the sense of I don't think he's an egomaniac in that sense. He's not a Kyrie. He's not a Russell Westbrook. He never was that type of. Here's the thing. He never was that type.
He's not an egomaniac. He's making up fake Twitter accounts.
No. That doesn't make you. Okay, that just means he's soft skinned. He's soft skinned. That means that
that's an ego. You don't have a strong enough ego.
That's just somebody getting in your head, and you got to be kind of like at times like I am. You got to be.
Block it out. You're one of the best players in NBA history.
My thing
Block
is,
it out.
I don't say he's an ego maniac. That I wouldn't put him in that argument. I'd put him just in a situation where he tried to do something on his own. He tried to orchestrate this whole super team, and it kind of just slapped him right back in the face, and it failed miserably. So I don't call him an egomaniac in that. In the sense, that's more of is it KD's fault, Ted, that Kyrie Irving, all political side and vaccination side, is it his fault? Is it? I don't know, but is it his fault that Kyrie Irving decided to say,
That's
hell,
the guy he chose, though.
Okay, I get that, but is it his fault that happened?
Here's the thing.
Is it his fault this happened? Is it his fault?
Are you the leader? Are you the leader?
Okay,
Are you his friend? If you tell me that we're going here, all right, and I do not need you to do this, or I need you to do this, like, hey, if you want to come here, you have to do this. Trev, I need you on my team. I need your support. You and me together can be a dynamic duo. We have to dominate.
But I don't think that doesn't.
If you're going to take your selfishness, and say it's more important for what you have to do than what the team is, and be my friend and help me out.
That doesn't make
kick
KD,
rocks, bro.
That doesn't make KD an egomaniac. That's
he
just
chose
KD.
him,
That's
though, Trent.
Exactly.
He's the one that Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, you just said the word. It was his choosing. Doesn't make him an egomaniac.
But Trev, you don't think
he just didn't do he just didn't do his best job of picking.
So you think when LeBron James went to Miami, he orchestrated the Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. You don't think he picked those two guys out?
I said that. Yes, he did pick that out. It was just his it was wrong choosing. That's all I said. I never said he was
blaming on Kevin Durant then.
Okay, and I am blaming him that. It's wrong choosing that he picked Kyrie Irving and he decided to go after James Harden. We'll get to that in a sec with the the max contracts that just came out, the contracts that just got to deal with every year. It's going to get bigger and bigger, and the contracts we're going to be seeing north of $300 million soon to an NBA player. It's just going to happen. It's just the way the market is. It's just the way sports is.
Didn't Curry get $300 million?
Yes, no. The highest paid was just Nikola Jokic just broke it. Jokic
264.
Yeah. So my thing is that you see this team 2 years ago, these two guys, Kyrie Irving and KD, on this weekend decided to join forces and join a team that we all considered was going to be title legitimate favorites and look like they were going to take over the league. And then on top of it, a year later, or about 2 years, what was it? Year and a half ago, maybe.
What?
When we were hanging out and James Harden got traded, I think I was still living in Connecticut.
I
think I was still living. It was it was a year and a half. I remember the day. It was a year and a half ago, and it was right before I was leaving to Florida. I remember we were sitting down. We saw the breaking news of James Harden. This is what they did. They traded all the draft capital. They traded all their young prize pieces, and it got nothing. Ultimately, yeah, you had KD, you had Kyrie Irving, and you had James Harden for a little hiccup, but that's it. That's all you had. And you got Ben Simmons now. All you have now is an utter mess. That's what this whole experiment was, and this could go down, to me right now, will go down as one of the greatest, if not the greatest what if in NBA history, but just because solely of the fact that talent was there for the taking, it was on that team, had everything. The one thing that they didn't do, and all the teams that we've seen for super teams like LeBron, and even with the Lakers, and they've won titles.
This will not help Kevin Durant's legacy.
All those what ifs that we always say. Oh, what about Kobe and Shaq? What about Jordan and Pippen? What could have they done? Guess what? It didn't matter. They won. They won titles. So that argument right there, that debate, that talking point should just be thrown to the side, because this is a what if, and it's probably the second greatest what if, because we still to this day, Ted, 10 years ago, still talk about the Oklahoma City Thunder with Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and Kevin Durant, saying, how many titles could they have won? We could be asking ourselves 10 years from now, how many titles could KD actually have won in the NBA?
Well, he might have never won any if he didn't join the Warriors. But I will say this: I think, unfortunately for Kevin Durant's career, all this is going to take a toll on Kevin Durant's career. When you talk about him, like when you tell the story about Kevin Durant, he'll
go down as still a top.
You're going to talk. No, you're going to talk about one of the best scorers and NBA players in the history of the game.
Yeah.
But then there's going to be it's not going to be a period. It's going to be but
the decision making was poor.
This, and this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You think about where his career is at. Might never win a title again. Who knows where he gets traded to? How does this? I mean, you think about all the scenarios that Kevin Durant has played. Oh, he went to the Warriors, left the team that was up 3-1, left because he couldn't beat them, so he joined them. Then after he won 2 titles, I get it.
He could do it himself.
He thought, you know what? I'm on a really good team, and I know I'm the best player, but you know what? I'm just going to let the bus go. I'm going to ghost ride it, and I'm going to get out of here, and I'm going to go join Brooklyn, and I'm going to go sign a bunch of riffraff guys that I think are really good. They're going to help me out, and, well, that didn't work out. Then I'm going to get all these superstars. That's not going to work out. And then after all this shenanigans, and listen, we know how the NBA works. Best players speak, teams listen, or they bounce. Well, less than 2 years later, he's out of the.
Right now, Kyrie and KD are still Brooklyn Nets, but with the way this thing's going, we don't know how
They're
much
all
longer
going.
they will be both gone. It's just, can you find trade packages?
And
for
you know
both
what's
players?
incredible, Trev? Here's the other thing. What if you want to talk about a what if? What if Kevin Durant's shoe size is a half size smaller, and they beat the Milwaukee Bucks?
I get it.
And then they get to the title, and then James Harden comes back from the hamstring, and they end up winning a title. What if?
I know. Trust me, KD's involved with a lot of what ifs. It's just right now, it's another what if that we can be saying 10 years from now. What happened to the Brooklyn Nets? Because right now, that little experiment, Comprende, all done, finito. It is over with. Speaking of big contracts, KD getting a big contract last year. Every year it happens. And Ted was telling me, oh, well, how do these guys get these contracts? It's just the way the market is. You're seeing in the NFL. You see it in baseball. Hockey doesn't get the same amount of money, but you're seeing contracts around sports becoming more and more ridiculous year by year. And Ted, there was a lot of big moves, a lot of max contracts, a lot of players resigning. Zach LaVine, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Zion Williamson, John Morant, Darius Garland's the new one, all getting, and Nikola Jokic, two-time defending MVP, all getting mega max deals, all over $200+ million. So, Ted, is there a move that it could be either one that you approve or disapprove of? If you don't have one, I could pick one right off the bat.
Not that it's anything special news. I'm just saying as news came out 5 minutes ago. The Hornets are already revoked. Don't want nothing to do with Miles Bridges. Gone. See you later.
Yeah,
we know that again. He's plays in the NBA again.
Is probably all done with forever after.
Yeah, good for him. Good for being a loser. I was just reading a bunch of stuff. It was funny because I was reading a thing about Kevin Durant. Goes, look at this. Left the Warriors, failed in Brooklyn, saw Golden State win a title. What does he do? He asked for the 2 number 1 seeds in either conference.
Think about it. Think about that. Seeing his former team just win another championship.
And look at the team he wants to play for, either the Suns or the Heat, who are the number 1 seeds.
I mean, he's not going to go to the no offense, he's not going to go to Orlando Magic.
He's not going to go to the Knicks.
He's not
going to go to the Lakers.
I mean, I don't even want to get started about the whole Lakers. I've already told my 2 roommates. I don't know. I'm going to be honestly, bro. I think I'm just going to watch the NBA next year if the Lakers get Kyrie Irving, because I can't stand what this Laker team has become. Anyways, what do you think is a move that it could be either approve or disapprove of? Because there's been some massive contracts. There's been some trades. A surprising trade yesterday. Maybe the trade
Listen, I got 2 quick ones. At first, I thought huge deal, Rudy Gobert going to Minnesota. I'm like, all right, great defensive guy. Listen, block shots, changes the front court. But then the more and more I thought about it and let it kind of, stir up in my brain, I was thinking, I'm like, well, the game is all about wings. It's about guards. It's so what I say to this is, I watched the Dallas Mavericks series. And Rudy Gobert was a non-factor because Dallas was playing 5 wide, and when Luka drive, kick, dish, and work the paint. Because in the game is when you have too many bigs, they clog the lane. We talked about that back in the day when
of course
the Lakers and a bunch of others said whatever. It's a big move. We'll see how it pans out for the Timberwolves, especially after Karl Anthony Towns had a huge season last year. Maybe he'll be more of a spread 4.
He got a big deal too.
He got an extension too. But the other move I really like, and we talked about this, and we kind of argued over the phone. I'm like, Trev, Boston Celtics need a real point guard, and you're like, Trev, they just need a facility. I go, no, they need a point guard. Marcus Smart is not really like a real point guard.
Well, I don't know if you saw his comments. That one point guard that we all bashed him. He got to the finals.
When he gets to the finals, you kind of need more of a facilitator. He's not a legit point guard, but he filled the role. Listen. He's also a defense guy, but I love the move that the Celtics made. You get Malcolm Brogdon. He's a real point guard. He's a better facilitator. He's a better scorer, I think, than Marcus Smart. And he adds just as much versatility in defense to a Boston Celtics team that already finished number 1 in defense this following year. But I love that move for the Boston Celtics. And you got to love what the Boston Celtics do. They don't give up really anything. They bring another all-star caliber player in there, another defensive guy, another guy fits their mold. And you look at their team now with Brogdon, Smart, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and
Robert
the big guy,
Williams.
Now you're depth. Now
they picked up Gallinari too. For
Gallinari, and now you got. I mean, You got the kid Pritchard. You got Al Horford. You got
Well,
oh
let's
my
keep
God,
an eye. We got to keep
gotta
an eye
like
on the
where
ball.
they're at.
Got to keep an eye on the Boston Celtics too with this whole KD thing because I just don't
You
know where
think they
Kevin.
really trade Jaylen Brown?
No, I hope they don't because Jaylen Brown is an emerging superstar, just like him and Tatum are going to be superstars for the next 10 to 12 years for that team.
Well, the question is now though, what does Kevin Durant get considering what the Timberwolves.
Oh, you
gave
could
up
call them
for
the twin wolves because you got the two big men. I mean, literally, and that's why I think the Gobert thing. At first, you're like, maybe, but then you're thinking, well, they got Karl-Anthony Towns, who, well, after last year, I mean, if you do remember, he won the 3-point contest last year, so
Shot
he's one of the
40% from three,
he's
better
one of the
than Steph
he's
Curry
one of the
last year.
better stretch fours, and you got a guy like Anthony Edwards, you got D'Lo still there. You got some pieces there that you can run with in the West. And the West is, look, Golden State's going to still be there. Phoenix will have its chances. The Lakers, count them maybe. Who knows? The Clippers, Denver, those teams, the T-Wolves are in that mold now. I don't mind the Gobert. It's just what they traded. I mean, 4 first-round draft picks and then a bunch of players. 5 first-round backs because they took the kid Ryan Kessler, or the kid Kessler, who got drafted 22nd overall this past draft. So that's a lot for a center who is not a legit scorer, but is a legit rim protector, is probably the best defensive big man in the league. So, yeah, you get that. We'll see how it goes with Minnesota, but they're going all in. This is an all-in move. They need to win now, and they decided to go get the bigger guy in Rudy Gobert. We'll see what happens with Utah and Donovan Mitchell, too. This offseason's just begun. But the move that I really like the Dante DiVincenzo move to Golden State. I know they lost Otto Porter and Gary Payton Jr., 2 guys that were integral parts of that team this year. But I think DiVincenzo coming off the bench, maybe playing as a starter. I like what his role is. He's an offensive guy. He can shoot the 3, and we know how Golden State loves to run and gun with that type of offense. I think that could be a very solid, underrated signing.
Well, they still got the 2 young kids that didn't play this one, Kuminga and Wiseman.
Yeah.
You got to look at those as free. Hey, I did not realize this. Did you know Bradley Beal re-signed with Wizards?
Yeah, 5 years, $251 million.
I mean, whatever. Get the money. You're never going to win anything.
I mean, he's never gonna win anything.
Hey, your boy's on the cover.
The deal. Oh, D-Book.
He's going to be on the cover of 2K3. Yeah. I'm just looking at some of the things.
My thing, the deal that I'm gonna finish off with, and I hate to do this to him, but I mean, I am a Jalen Brunson fan. I hope that he delivers for the New York Knicks, but what they're going to be paying him and what he's going to be asked in that offense to be possibly one of the focal points, along with an RJ Barrett and Julius Randle. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but it's a guy that has his father's part of the coaching staff. He's a New York kid. He's from that type of area. So he'll fit in, but the money that he got for a guy that just came off his best year, averaging about 12 to 13 points a game, we'll see how that goes, but nothing really surprising. I said it a couple of weeks ago, the domino effect was not going to be Kyrie Irving. It was going to be Kevin Durant, and I know people are thinking, well, how the hell is Kevin D going to get traded? Well, he's already quested it, so it's on the verge of happening. Now, we just saw what Rudy Gobert got. What is Kevin Durant going to ask for? Let's just say it'll probably be the biggest, yeah, pretty much the biggest trade package in the history of the NBA. Wow, think about it, Ted. You think about this time. It's July 2nd. Usually it's a slow period, but there's so much basketball going on. The UFC got a big UFC card tonight. The MLB, the Yankees are continuing to win, but we'll talk about the Yankees later on next week. See how they fare in Cleveland against the Guardians as they're playing right now, and they got a doubleheader. We'll talk about them against the Houston Astros. We got to talk about that.
They're winning 10-2 Yanks right now.
So there is a lot happening, and yesterday was the final month without football until March 20 of 23. So we will have football coming soon. Means we're going to be talking a hell of a lot of the gridiron. New York Giant football. We'll be talking about those Alabama quarterbacks, New York quarterbacks, a lot going on. I just want to take before we get out of here, just a couple things. Just wanted to say happy birthday to my father. First time in 29 years. I will not see him this year, so I hope you guys have a wonderful time. Also, just wanted to say from both of us, I know for people that are watching behind us, just thank you for the outpouring support, text messages, calls of the loss of our Rocky Apollo Keys, who passed away this past Tuesday morning. So we just wanted to say thank you to everybody who has reached out to us, We greatly appreciate it. If you knew us, you knew Rocky Keys. So we just want to thank as I said again, we just want to say from the bottom of our heart, thank you. It's been, to say the least, a rough week in the Keys household. But also, finally, everybody, have a wonderful 4th of July too. Make the most of it as best we can. I know it's not ideal situations in the country, but let's make the most. 4th of July. Are you working?
Oh, 4th of July, yeah, Monday.
This man had the cockiest smirk on his face, like, nah, I ain't working. It's like, oh, 4th of July, yeah, absolutely.
Well, I forget that's Monday. I'm today, tomorrow.
It's all right. Well,
whatever. Got to make that money, bro.
At least you get to enjoy it, right?
Well, it's actually not bad out. It was supposed to be thunderstorms today, and actually it's pretty sunny, cleared up skies. So much for the rain. No rain today. Clear skies on Dad's birthday, so we're good. And one of the questions, though, I want to get to. You said one of the guys said was Garland overpaid.
No, he was a first-time All-Star player.
$193 million extension can get up to $231.
One of the focal points of that Cleveland offense.
If he makes the All-Star, it's the highest Cleveland Cavalier contract of history. But listen, that's what we're going to. I mean, Jokic for Denver just got the highest contract ever. I mean, they're all getting $200+ million contracts. I mean, Bradley Beal, 251. That's why the NBA put the Supermax deal in, so the guys keep their superstars instead of the guys just going to the biggest contract. I don't like it. Do I think they're worth $200 million? Absolutely not. Just like I don't think some of those guys in baseball are worth $200-300 million. But this is the era and the economy we live in. This is the market we live in. This is what the game is about. Wait till what's Luka? Is Luka up for a deal anytime soon?
He's gonna get like $1 billion. He's gonna get $1 billion deal.
I mean, who's the next young gun that's probably? I mean, what is LaMelo Ball gonna get in a couple years?
We'll see.
I mean, for the Charlotte Hornets. I mean, you got to think some of these big time. I mean, Zach LaVine got $200 million.
We'll see what happens.
I mean, hey, listen, Jason Tatum in 2 years, or probably a year or two, will be looking at $300 million extension with the Celtics. So it is what it is. You just have to accept it, and that's it. And we'll see what happens. You think you think a trade happens over the weekend?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, the only move I can see is it's either going to be Kyrie or KD, but
I think it's going to happen next Thursday.
Or hold our breath, and we'll see what happens. We will be all over it. If there is any breaking news, we will try to get to you as soon as possible on Keys of the City with breaking news, whatever it may be, whether it's in the baseball world, basketball world, or football world. We will be on top of it as soon as possible. We love you all. We are streaming on all social media platforms, so check us out at Keys of the City. We are out.
You are now in tune to the Keys to the City podcast.